everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Tabby Loves. I'm Tabitha, and I talk to you about the things that I love. Today, we are going to be doing the mid-year book tag. I've been seeing everybody do this tag, and I was like, that's a great idea. That sounds like a lot of fun. Also, hopefully this lighting situation's okay. I don't know, I might close the blinds at some point, because it's actually really fucking hot with the sun shining directly on me. But anyway, let's get into it. The first question is best book I've read so far this year, and I'm gonna cheat because I'm gonna talk about a few books. And honestly, if you've watched either my channel, my TikTok, whatever, you probably already know that these are gonna be on this, gonna be my best books of the year so far. But I feel like they each deserve a spot. I look through every single one of the books I've read so far this year as was this one does this one deserve to be the best books of the year? And these are the ones that made the cut. So, where do I even want to start? Let's start with Lucy Undying. This one's probably going to come up later in this video, but I absolutely ate this one up. This is basically a retelling of Dracula, and it kind of bounces in between a few different perspectives. We follow not only the perspective of Lucy, as in her diary entries, but rewritten. It's like the diary entries from Dracula, except if she had a secret diary where she had all of her thoughts that she was actually thinking. This is also a sapphic novel, so not only was she in love with Mina the entire time, but she also was not interested in any of the men, and so much more. I almost spoiled the book. And then we also follow the point of view of Iris, which is a modern day girl who's been trying to get away from her mother, who basically is the head of a cult that is it's one of those wellness new age kind of cults, right? And no matter where she goes, her mother is able to put money into finding her. Even with her mother being dead, they still are not letting her go. So she has gone to London, I think it was, England somewhere, and is trying to figure out what she wants to do, basically. And bouncing in between the past where Lucy becomes a vampire but doesn't die, and her search for Dracula and all of that, alongside Iris, who's going through her own struggles that we see in modern day, and her coming across this woman who, we don't know her, probably. But I don't know, I absolutely loved it. I wrote a whole Substack article on it, which, to be honest, I've completely fallen off of Substack. I haven't written anything for Substack in so long, because it just doesn't flow naturally for me. But I did write a Substack about this and some of the symbolism in this, and that's how much I loved it. So that's book number one. Up next is the first book in a series, and the second book has come out, and I haven't read it yet, but I really want to. I think I should look this up at the library, but I don't think the library had this first book, so I'm probably gonna have to buy it, which is no problem at all, except that I have no money right now. But when I have money, the sequel to this book is one of the first things I'm gonna buy, and that is A Prince Without Sorrow. This is another, it has multiple point of views. One of them, we are following the prince of, his father is a tyrant, and he, however, is a pacifist. He believes in peace, and it obviously puts him at odds with his family a lot. And then we also follow a witch, or they're called Mayakari, which I don't know if that's how it's actually supposed to be said. This is based off of, the Mauryan Empire of ancient India. So I might butcher some of the way these words are pronounced or whatever, but this Mayakari, the Mayakari are a pacifist people who do not believe in using their powers for anything bad. However, this witch in particular has decided to break away from that tradition, and she wants revenge for the genocide that the tyrant has been putting on her people. And it's kind of these two people going very different directions and learning very different lessons, but it's done in such a fascinating way. I love the mythology that's put into this. I love the magic is so interesting. I was so invested with the journey of both of these characters, and I cannot wait to see what the sequel holds eventually once I have the money to do that. And then up next, this one, honestly, the next two are well hyped, and I believe they both thoroughly deserve the hype that they get. And first off, a real big one here, Dungeon Crawler Carl. I absolutely love Dungeon Crawler Carl. The only thing that's holding me back from reading the rest of the series right now is that I'm in the middle of my SJM reread, and if I get distracted by reading the rest of this series, because there's 8 books, I think, I'm not going to finish my SJM reread in time for the next ACOTAR book, so I need to lock in and focus. But for those of you that don't know, Dungeon Crawler Carl, it's kind of like a lit RPG style kind of book, and we follow Carl, who is a human in a world that was just... I almost said infested with aliens. That's not right. What's the word? What is the word when a whole bunch of aliens take over Earth? Invasion. He is a human during an alien invasion where basically all of the man-made structures were pushed underground and then recreated or re-amalgamated or whatever you want to say to basically become a giant game map. It's kind of like a reality TV show game sort of situation. There's like health bars and there's like power-ups, and you can get like items or whatever to like increase your stats, that kind of thing, and it's broadcasted to the entire universe. And basically they're like, if there's a human that can get down to, I think it's the 18th floor if I remember correctly, that's like the end of the levels or whatever, then we will give that planet to that person to become supreme leader or whatever, something like that. And he walked into this arena because there was no choice. It's either, oh, you join the game or you have to live on Earth with nothing for you. So he joins with his girlfriend's cat, who had happened to be outside at the time that he had gone to get, and she joins his party. So it's him and this cat, which is able to talk eventually. And it was just so much fun. I had so much fun with this book. It was just a plain old good time. I was scared I wasn't gonna like the humor of this. I was like, I don't know, is it gonna be like kind of like boy humor, you know? Is it gonna be kind of like potty humor, which it kind of is. And I'm not much of a potty humor person, but it worked with this. This was just delightful. And then finally, the last book on my list of the best books I've read so far this year, and this, I'm counting the whole trilogy in this, okay? And that is the Mistborn trilogy. If you want to see me talk about this trilogy in depth, I do have an entire video of me doing a reading vlog of this whole series, so go see that. I'll put a card somewhere here, I don't know. But, Mistborn, basically, so Brandon Sanderson has deserved every good thing said about him. I absolutely love Mistborn. I thought the world was so interesting. I thought the character dynamics were so interesting. This is basically set in a world where the prophecy has come to pass and the hero failed, and evil has kind of taken over the whole world. And this evil is known as the Lord Ruler, and he has just kind of been a tyrant ruling over the entire world for thousands of years. He's basically seen as a god, and a group of thieves have decided to steal the empire from him. Because there's a group of people called the Ska people that are basically seen as inferior and kind of almost like chosen to be inferior. And a lot of the people in this group are Ska people that are tired of being pushed down and oppressed and treated as lesser than. And so it's them building like basically a heist against this thousands of year old being. And on top of all that, there is a really cool magic system, which is where the name Mistborn comes in. Because the magic system is people swallow metals and then can burn them, and each metal has a different ability that it grants that person, and most people can only do one metal. However, if you can do more than one metal, you can do all of the metals. It's either all or nothing, right? So, or like one, or you can either do one, you can either do none of them, or you can do them all. And those that can burn all the metals are known as Mistborn. Obviously, I recommend it. Thoroughly recommend it. Oh, it was so much fun. I cannot wait to read more of Brandon Sanderson's work. Alright, number 2. Best sequel I've read so far this year. And this is perfectly timed because I had just finished the sequel that I'm going to give this one to. And that was the sequel to When the Moon Hatched Ballad of Fallen Dragons, I believe it's called. I thought this book was, I don't want to say fantastic because I gave it 4 stars, but I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot. Not a lot better than the first one, but I did think it was better than the first one. And I wasn't sure how I was feeling going into it. I did reread book 1, and I kind of remembered all the stuff I didn't like about book 1, so I was nervous going into book 2. But I'm glad I did. I'm so glad I did. I think this fantasy series is doing some really interesting stuff. The first book, we're basically following Rave, and she is a assassin for this underground rebellion or whatever, and she gets, she basically has a series of a tragedy that occurs that sends her off the deep end and gets her wound up in trouble. There is potentially an execution, but she is saved by the king of the burn, Khan Vagor, and you basically, like, a whole bunch of stuff starts getting revealed. There is a reincarnation storyline. This story, like, not so much the first book, but the second book for sure really focuses on, like, also, like, motherhood. And it's so interesting what this story and what this world does. I love the magic system. I love the kind of, like, I don't even know if religion is the right word of this world, but I don't know. The way that this one does elemental gods, I think, is really interesting. And the second one, I think, has some really interesting twists. And it does some really, I don't want to say unconventional, but that's the word I want to use. It does unconventional things that I feel like a lot of these fantasy books don't fully embrace or kind of shy away from, and this one does not, which I appreciate. Alright, up next is some new releases that I haven't read yet and I want to. There's mostly 2 that I want to include in this video. Hold on, I'm a little crooked. Okay, better. First, and both of these are actually on hold at the library right now. I'm just waiting for them to come in, but I do plan on actually getting to these. But first is, I'm gonna butcher the name of this. Mrs. Abernathy's Mystical Cat Shelter, I believe it's called, something like that. Obviously, I'll put the picture here. You'll see what it is. This one it sounds cozy, it sounds fun. I saw someone say that it's like, oh, too much like Howl's Moving Castle or whatever, but I see that as a good thing. I don't know. We'll see if I change my mind when I'm actually reading it. But I just think it sounds so cute. I love cats. I'm looking at my cats now, sorry. I was debating if it was worth running off and grabbing them so I could show them to you. But they're chilling right now, so I'm gonna leave them alone. But I just think it sounds so cute. It sounds so nice. And then the other one is This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me. This is a fantasy, and I believe this one's actually like 2 authors. So it's like 2 authors using a pen name, and I think they write other fantasy books too. And I think, again, I might remember because I've had this on my holds for a while. But I think this is almost like a portal fantasy too. And I always like to try portal fantasies. I think portal fantasies are a lot of fun. It's always so fun to see a human from our world put in fantasy situations that they're not prepared for. Or maybe they are prepared for, but it just makes it better if they're not. And maybe that's not what this is. You know, maybe I'm going into this too blind and it's just going to make me dislike the story more than I normally would. But that's for me to find out and you guys to probably already know. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This next one is a quick and easy one. My most anticipated book for the rest of 2026. If you haven't already guessed, for what I've already said at the beginning of this video, it's gonna be ACOTAR 6. The next ACOTAR book is coming out at the end of October. I am rereading all of SJM's books right now to prepare. I've been doing awful, by the way. I'm behind by a lot. I'm like in the middle of Heir of Fire, like a little past the middle at this point. Or maybe, yeah, I'm a little past the middle at this point. So, but I'm working my way towards it, okay? I think I've been waiting for this release since I finished the ACOTAR books. I want to say it was 2023 when I finished them. And I haven't reread them since, so rereading them again has been so great. I think I kind of let the internet almost like make me scared that I was going to reread these books and I wasn't going to like them, because all I see about how, oh, they're not really well written and people that like them are stupid, and oh, only people that read at a 14-year-old reading level like these books. And I was like, well, I know. I've been reading at a college reading level since I was in the 4th grade. So I was like, well, I know that my reading level isn't like this, and these were the first, like, books I read when I got back into reading, and so maybe I was rusty, maybe it just, like, maybe it's just because it was so new, and reading was still, like, novel, because I'd take such a long break from it, that I wasn't gonna like them after having read so many other books and then coming back, but no, I am on the 4th book in the Throne of Glass series, and still absolutely loving him. So, all of those people are wrong. Like, and look, you're allowed to dislike the ACOTAR series. You're allowed to dislike SJM's writing. I do not understand why people say it's bad writing. I read so widely in the fantasy genre, and SJM's writing is still some of my favorite. So, but that's neither here or there. That was a mini rant. I'm so tired of the way people talk about these books online. Like, people that, I hate when people act like things people like online make them stupid. Or books that people like to read make them stupid. It's one of my biggest pet peeves, and it's the worst for SJM books. But I digress. Alright, up next. Biggest disappointments of this year so far. I have 3 for this one. First off, and again, if you watch my Exploring Smut videos, you already know this, but Your Knife, My Heart was so bad, I was actually kind of crushed. I liked the premise of this. This is a book that I actually, like, I saw it in Walmart, and I liked, like, the design or whatever, the special edition design that the Walmart had or whatever, or exclusive edition, whatever. And I decided not to buy it, which I am so thankful for that now. I looked it up and I was like, it's on Kindle Unlimited, I'm not going to buy it unless I like it. And I ended up DNFing it. It was so bad. It's supposed to be like, there's like this underground like military operation that's like a secret military thing. And this one guy, he like kills every single one of his partners. And so when they bring in this new girl to be his new partner, he just thinks that he's gonna kill her like he kills everybody else. And then like it turns out that there's, I don't know, something about her, or I don't know, like her goal is to survive with him. His goal is to not kill her, even though he keeps blacking out and killing people. And again, maybe that premise sounds stupid, but I thought it was going to be a lot of fun, and instead it was just really painful to get through. Speaking of painful to get through and hurting my heart and being devastated, A Betrayal of Storms. This one hurt because the beginning was good. And I saw some of the reviews saying that they didn't like the beginning. The beginning was the first red flag or whatever, but I liked the writing style at the beginning. I liked this character. I liked the opening chapter and like the first few chapters after that. I like thought this world was really interesting, and I was so set to really like enjoy this fantasy world. Especially because like this is a romantasy that's I don't want to say gay romantasy, but that's what it is. It's like he falls in love with this guy that is, I don't even know if he's technically his bodyguard, but he's like half fae, and he's been living in the human world with his father, but the humans are very prejudiced against the fae, and he gets kidnapped at the very beginning of this novel and taken to a fae camp, and then ends up being freed by the fae and joining their side of this war because he's some long lost heir to some magical power or whatever. A classic fantasy setup, you know. And as I continue to go through this book, the writing quality took a nosedive. And I mean literally. As the further I went through this book, and I only made it about like halfway, maybe a little bit more than halfway, the typos in this increased as the story went on. The world consistency dissolved as the story went on. The characters, the things I liked about the characters started to disappear, and I just started to get more annoyed, more pissed off, and it just wasn't working, which is so sad. And then finally, And this one, I think I still ended up rating kind of high on Goodreads, and I might go back and bump my rating down, because I think I gave this 4 stars, and I think it deserves 3. And that is You Did Nothing Wrong by C.G. Drews. Now, C.G. Drews has become an auto-buy author for me, because I read Don't Let the Forest In and Hazelthorn and loved them both. And I pre-ordered this, and I was so excited to read this, and it just was not clicking. It just didn't work. And I even had my friend who also loves C.G. Drews also read it, and it just also didn't work for her, and she actually DNF'd it. I liked it better in the second half enough that I didn't DNF it, and apparently I really liked the ending because I gave it 4 stars, but it's like a 3 stars. And it's a disappointment because of how much I loved all of C.G. Drews' other books. Now this one, it follows Elodie, which I was calling her Elodie in my head the entire time, and then my friend said her name, and I was like, oh, it's supposed to be Elodie, and it's not Elodie. But beside the point, Elodie, she has she's found the perfect husband. He's renovating a house. She's pregnant with her second child, their first child together, and then she has her son Jude, who is 6 and autistic, I think he's supposed to be autistic. And it's kind of like the struggles of motherhood, and this house may has something wrong with it, that kind of setup. And it just, the first part was so repetitive. It felt like it was just her getting angry at Jude, or being overwhelmed by being a parent to Jude over and over again, and being embarrassed by the way Jude acts. And then it's just that over and over and over again. And it took a long time to get into the actual meat of the story. And like the prose and stuff that I usually love from C.G. Drews seemed to be thrown in there to be like, look, these are the prose you love so much. And it just wasn't the same. It didn't hit the same in my soul as the other 2 books do. Now, C.G. Drews is releasing another book later this year called Scorpion Deep that is more along the themes of the other 2 and the vibes of the other 2 that I'm hoping will bring us back up there, right? But I was really sad about how much I struggled with this one, and honestly, if I didn't force myself to read it because of how much I usually love C.G. Drews, I probably would have DNF'd it too. But like I said, I really ended up liking the second half of the book, so yeah. I'm sorry, I had to shut those blinds. I was literally dying. I could feel myself almost sunburning just from the light coming through my window. Okay, next. Biggest surprises of the year. I'm gonna bring back, actually, I didn't even grab it. Oh. I'm gonna bring back Lucy Undying for this, because I had kind of picked Lucy Undying because I had some money. I don't remember specifically from what. I think it was just, I can't remember if I was specifically there because I was just spending money to spend money on books. Or if I had gotten money from somebody and was spending it on books. But I was just kind of like, oh, this book had a buy one, get one free sticker. So I bought this one, and I bought another vampire book. And I'm trying to remember what the other vampire book I bought was. Because I have several on my shelf, on my TBR shelf over there, that it could be. I want to say it was from a Hispanic author, the other one I bought. Or maybe it wasn't a vampire one. Maybe it was like the possession of something or something. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I kind of chose this one because I was like, well, it's part of the buy one, get one free. And it sounds vaguely interesting. And I had read Dracula semi-recently. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do this one. And I ended up loving it so much. I'm glad I took the risk on it to read this one. And honestly, this probably is one of the biggest surprise this year. The only other one I say would also fall under this is Ballad of the Falling Dragons. Again, because I was so on the fence after rereading the first book about if I even like the series enough to continue. But again, I'm glad I did. I thought the second book was great. And I remember the first time I finished the first book, how much I loved it. So I guess I shouldn't have been surprised, but it was just the second book I almost said reenacted. It brought the magic back for me. We'll just put it at that. Okay, we are going to rapid fire the next 3. Newest favorite author, Brandon Sanderson. I can't wait to dive more into more of his books and see what else his fantasies have to offer. Newest favorite character, Vin from the Mistborn saga or whatever. I would also say Carl from Dungeon Crawler Carl. Both of them fantastic characters that I now fully love. Newest favorite ship. This one's hard because I don't know, like, does like actual romances count? Because like the relationship between Elend and Vin from Mistborn, and then also like the relationships with Rave and Khan from Ballad of Falling Dragons, and like When the Moon Hatched and all that, are great ships. Like they're great relationships. I don't really think I have a new favorite ship, like ship in the traditional fandom sense of two characters that aren't technically canonically together. I mean, okay, so this is technically a spoiler for Ballad of Falling Dragons a little bit, but there's a character named Pyrock. I think we meet him in the first book. I can't fully remember. And there is a character near the end of Ballad of Falling Dragons, and again, it's a slight spoiler that this is even happening, but I'm not going to spoil it completely, right? But he stumbles across a character near the end, and I think they're very obviously going to be a couple, but I actually think they're my new favorite ship, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm also going to cheat with the next two. A book that made me cry, and a book that made me happy. Now, both of these are going to be Emily Henry books, because there was something about the, I've been reading Emily Henry's backlog. I'm going to be making a video, once I finish all of Emily Henry's books that I can at least have access to, I'm going to make a video ranking them and, like, talking about Emily Henry as a whole and all of that. That is in the works, kind of. So because of that, I've been listening to a lot of her contemporary romances, and contemporary romances just feed my soul so beautifully. Like, some of these relationships have made me positively giddy, and I think like diving into this author and reading a bunch of these just made me very happy. But they've also made me cry a few times. There's a few different ones. But I'm going to give, like, a book that made me cry for this video, A Great Big Beautiful Life. I think, like, there was a part near the end that, honestly, it hurt my heart. It did make me cry. And I think out of all the Emily Henry books, that one made me cry. I won't say the most. I didn't cry that much. Mostly because I listened to these as audiobooks at work, and I wasn't about to, like, break down sobbing at work. But I definitely had, like, a tears that I needed to gather myself for. Though also for a book that made me happy, I am going to include the two When in Rome books that were also contemporary romances that I've read recently in this too, by Sarah Adams. Both of them were also absolutely delightful. I love her When in Rome series, and so reading these books just made me so happy. Alright, last two. The next one is The Most Beautiful Book You've Bought This Year. And I haven't been buying a lot of books. Again, see previous don't have money problem. But I do have Book of the Month every month. So I'm going to count that because I am spending money every month to get one book for a Book of the Month. But I think this Book of the Month book is the prettiest book I've bought so far this year. And that is Bloodbound. And it's like, you know, it's the Book of the Month version that has these like dual sprayed edges. And I love the vibe of it. I love that it's like kind of split down the middle. I love the two like opposing elements almost. And this book sounds like it has the potential to be fantastic. So I mean, I'm excited to see what all that is about. So yeah, that's my pick. Oh, also let me show you the end cover too. Look at that. Ugh, absolutely love it. And then the final question. The books that I want to read by the end of the year. Now, I think, again, I'm going to have to say the rest of the SJM books. Also, the, my Throne of Glass, TBR piles over there. So all of the SJM books I plan on reading before the end of the year. Specifically before October. Because I know for a fact if I'm not reading the ACOTAR release when it comes out, it's gonna get spoiled for me. But, But those are definitely number one. I do kind of want to put the Dungeon Crawler Carl books on this, but I don't actually think I'll be able to get to them because of the SJM reread. But man, do I really want to. There's a part of me that really wants to say fuck it, because like technically these are a reread, you know? I don't need to read them before the next book comes out. I want to. And so I could just read Dungeon Crawler Carl and read the next 8 books, and like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm doing this to myself. However, I don't know. I have the things that I want, you know. I have my goals, and I want to stick with them. But tentatively, putting Dungeon Crawler Carl on this list. Say hi. You have reached the end of the video. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos that I post. It's a lot of videos like these. I do a lot of reading content. I do reading vlogs. Hush, son, I'm almost done. I do reading vlogs. I do reading content. I do writing content sometimes. You gotta stay tuned to see if I end up finishing the SJM's reread on time, you know? Share this with your friends if you think they'd like it. Leave a comment if you have anything to say about any of these books. If you're excited for the next SJM read. If you think I should put Dungeon Crawler Carl higher up on my TBR and just say fuck it and finish it. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Love ya. Goodbye. Oh.